Now, speaking of iconic portrayals, let's not forget Jake Lloyd. Okay, I want you to go back and I want you to watch The Phantom Menace. Just watch it, look at it. Turn the sound off. No sound. Hey, better yet, watch one of my videos that I made on it. I got video essays. It's all there. You can just watch the tapes, man. You need to watch the tapes. Yeah, watch the tapes. And then you're going to agree with me. If you will watch the tapes with an open mind, you got to recognize your bias, your screens, from a certain point of view, so to speak. Jake Lloyd deserves... Listen, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it very clearly and very slowly. Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar for his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Written and directed by George Lucas. Producer, Rick McCollum. Executive producer, George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. Yeah. And that's normally where I'm going to leave off. And then I'll normally say, and that's all the time we have for today, dear friends. Remember, your focus determines your reality. And may the Force be with us. And then I'll shut the camera off. But I'm not going to do that today. Today, I'm going to take it to another level, and I'm going to say this. I'm a little bit angry today, and I'm not going to lie to you, I am angry. I heard a guy on the internet the other day, a guy named Patton Oswalt. O-S-W-A-L-T. Oswalt. Patton. P-A-T-T-O-N. Patton Oswalt. He claims he's a comedian. They say he's a comedian. Doing jokes, comedy, dark humor, geek stuff, you know. And I've heard a lot of his stuff, and he's pretty funny. I've always enjoyed Patton Oswalt. I've enjoyed his comedy. I like his humor, his style, his take on a lot of stuff. I especially like his geekiness, if you will, his being a nerd, if you will. I am. He is. But he told a joke a couple of years back. I think it was possibly 2004, maybe 2007. I don't remember exactly. I don't know, man. Who cares? Watch the tapes. You can see it on my channel. I'll probably link it in this video, or maybe I'll just add it. Maybe I'll just add it at the end of this one so you can hear what I'm talking about. Patton Oswalt actually said this, and he said it was a joke, and everybody laughed. But it's not funny. I'm just going to tell you this right now. This isn't funny. I don't think it's funny. Now, you might think this is funny. I'm going to play the joke for you. No, I'm going to tell you what he said. I'm not going to play the joke. I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, and I'm not going to quote, but I'm going to recall as best as I can and paraphrase this if I can. He said, if I had a time machine, I would go back to around 1993 or 94, and I'd kill George Lucas with a shovel. Yeah. To stop him from making the prequels. And in this way, I would save history. Shame on you, Mr. Oswalt. Shame on you. So let me get this straight. If you had a time machine, and this is a joke, he's joking around. Look, man, I've done jokes that I wish I hadn't done out loud in front of certain audiences that I wish I had done in front of other audiences first, to try them out to see if they were actually funny, let alone even appropriate to call a joke. So let me get this straight. So I'm going to treat this as if it's not a joke, because I don't think this is funny. But let me get this straight, Mr. Oswalt. And anybody that's listening to this, if you can, get a hold of Mr. Oswalt and see what he says about this. And I invite Mr. Oswalt to talk about this, open up about it, own it, say you're sorry, and rejoin the human race. Mr. Oswalt, Patton Oswalt, comedian, funny man. Yeah, funny man. If you think this is funny, hey, have at it, man, if you think it's funny. If you don't think it's funny, then do something about it. I'm angry about this, man. This guy said, Patton Oswalt said, if I had a shovel, I would go back in time to about 1993 or 1994, and I would kill George Lucas with a shovel. With a shovel. He didn't just say, well, you know, if I could go back in time, I would go back and try to talk George Lucas out of making the prequels, because I didn't like them. In a minute, I'm going to tell you what he actually said. And believe me, this is not going to be for kids. I'm going to give you the chance to have the kids leave the room, or if you don't like strong language, leave the room. I'll give you some time. Ample warning. I'll count it down. But believe me, this is what he said. He said, now here it is. Kids, leave the room. Starting now. If I had a time machine, something like this, I'm recalling this as best I can, but you can watch the tapes. I'll add a link to these tapes, man. Not funny in my book. He said, remember, no kids in this room for this part. This isn't for kids. He said, Patton Oswalt said this. He said, if I could go back in time, if I had a time machine, I'd go back in time to about 93 or 94. He said, I don't know what I would do. Maybe I'd go back in time and kill George Lucas with a shovel. No, he didn't say maybe he would. He said he would do it. Go back in time, kill George Lucas with a shovel. With a shovel, mind you. He chose the shovel for some reason. I don't know. Everybody laughed. He says, so I can keep George Lucas from making the prequels. Ha ha ha! Crowd goes wild. If I had a time machine, so let me get this straight. Here's the joke. If I had a time machine, I'm gonna go back in time, kill George Lucas in cold blood, murder him with a shovel to keep him from making the prequels. Crowd goes wild. Ha 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 ha! Kill George Lucas. Ha ha ha! Yeah, very funny, huh? Not funny. And then he says this. Remember, no kids in the room. Fucking pathetic. So let me get this straight. You're going to go back in time, about 1993 or 1994. You're going to kill George Lucas with a shovel to keep George Lucas from making the prequels. And your commentary on this, his making the prequels, is fucking pathetic. And then you go on, and I'm talking to you now, Mr. Oswalt. And then you go on and you trash the prequels because you didn't like the way they turned out. Wah! Man, talk about fucking pathetic. Why don't you take a look in the mirror? I'm not saying you are fucking pathetic, Patton Oswalt. I'm saying your joke is fucking pathetic. Yeah, your joke is fucking pathetic. That joke, fucking pathetic, man. Your act, fucking pathetic. Look, man, I've very rarely used the F word in public, but I'm using it now. And this is not an all ages video. This is not for kids, this section of it. There's a timestamp in here. This isn't for kids. Oh, now Patton Oswalt loves Star Wars and the geeky stuff. Oh, the 1%. Yeah. Let me tell you something else about the 1%. I bet you 99% don't like that joke. You're the 1% that thinks that's funny. Fucking pathetic. Okay, you can bring the kids back in the room now. Shame on you, Mr. Oswalt. Just shame on you. But look, man, I've said a lot of stuff that I'm sorry for. I think, I hope, maybe I wish you're sorry for what you said. Maybe you're not. And if you're not, fine, who cares, man? I can move on. But let me tell you what I'm not going to move on from. That joke you told. I'm not going to think about you all the time, but I am going to remember that joke you told. And anytime somebody brings up your name, Mr. Oswalt, anytime somebody says the name Patton Oswalt, or wants to get me involved in anything Patton Oswalt is doing, or anything that Patton Oswalt is trying to get off the ground. Look, I'm not a hater. I don't want to be a hater. I'm going to say this to them. Really? So, really? And you think this is funny? And I'm going to tell them what you said. Never forget. Never forget. I'm not going to forget it. And hey, look, man, this might not be your thing. Maybe you did forget it. Maybe you moved on, Mr. Oswalt. But I didn't. And I don't think that's funny. Now, to put it another way, let's say that look, again, this is not an all ages video, but there's no more cussing in this video. You can have your kids in here if you want. Maybe they need to learn something. Maybe. Maybe they don't. Maybe you don't want them to learn anything. I don't know what you want your kids to learn. The one thing I don't want my kids to learn or to think is that it's okay to make jokes about going back in time and murdering somebody with a shovel, or murdering somebody at all, because you didn't like this piece of artwork they made, or you didn't like a movie they made, because they didn't have the right kind of special effects, or they got the wrong kid to play the thing, and like, wah! I'm gonna go back and murder George Lucas with a shovel. Wah! Pathetic, man. I want to say it, but I already said I'm not going to cuss anymore. I'm just going to say this. That word that starts with an F. Pathetic. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll leave it at that. So, Jar Jar is the key to this whole thing. Anakin Skywalker, played by Jake Lloyd. Man, brilliant. Jar Jar, brilliant. Hilarious. The acting, not to mention directing in this. George Lucas, his direction. Turn the sound off in this movie, Star Wars episode. Just turn it down. Turn off the sound and watch it. And just see what it brings about. You're going to have a life-changing experience. And then I want you to go back and I want you to see in that light this really, quote, funny, end quote, joke that Patton Oswalt told, maybe just to get a quick laugh, whatever. Fine, maybe he told it because he thought it was funny in the moment. We've all done it, I've done it. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made them. I might be making a mistake right now for bringing this up. Maybe you didn't want to hear about this. Maybe I might be losing subscribers. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is that George Lucas is a beautiful human being. He's one of the most beloved humans ever to grace our existence on this planet. He has made countless, millions, if not billions of people, and if not billions of people, more to come. happy, joyful, of all ages, races, creeds, nationalities, and colors, religious faiths, and of no faith. And to say, because you didn't like the way he made a movie that was a very special movie that he made from his heart, as a piece of his heart to show his love towards you, as a craft of his own love to show his love towards you. And you want to go back and kill him because he didn't do it the way you wanted it to be made? Shame on you, Mr. Oswalt. Just shame on you. If you want to support the program, click on the links, call the number on your screen, whatever. Remember, your focus determines your reality. And may the Force be with us.